Full-time match reaction from Elland Road. It finished Leeds United 5, Newcastle United 2. And Steve Bruce has been taught a footballing lesson in terms of you need to get at teams, you need to have a go, you need to stop being negative and just looking to try and pick teams off and hope for the very best. What was Steve Bruce's plan out there today? For me, that was not to win that game. That was to come away with at least a point. And against Leeds, who are one of the best sides to watch in terms of how they keep a hold of possession, how they like to attack at speed. Given the fact that Leeds lost the last couple of games, Steve Bruce surely knew the warnings. He knew the warning signs. Well, clearly he didn't, because Leeds from the very get-go, they dominated that game for 95% of it. Yeah, we scored 2 goals, but had Newcastle walked away from Elland Road with a point, Steve Bruce would have been the luckiest man in Leeds. He's been lucky before, but tonight he has been humiliated. And Leeds, fair play to you. You play some good football. You deserve to win that game. You totally outpassed us. You totally controlled that game. You had so many chances. In that first half alone, at half-time it was 1-1. You could have been 4, 5, 6, 7-1 up. You had so many chances. And I'm thinking, well, is Steve Bruce going to get lucky in the second half? And at one point when it was sort of 2-2, maybe. But then the cracks started to open. And for me, the dangers were there from the very get-go in terms of how he set up. I wasn't happy with the starting lineup. I wasn't happy with how we went about the game from minute one. And in terms of the lineup, why did he change it? Why did you not just stick to the same side that beat West Bromwich Albion 2-1? Yes, the possession was poor, and it could have happened. It could have changed in this game tonight. We know Leeds are a good side, we get that. However, don't change something that's not broken. And what also made me laugh is it looked more like a 5 at the back rather than a 4-4-2. Amazon Prime made it out to be a 4-4-2, but given the fact of the players that were out in selection, it didn't look like a 4-4-2. If you look at the way the game panned out, that for me was not 4-4-2. That was not the formation that we've used against Crystal Palace. That was not the formation that we used against West Bromwich Albion. For me, it was back to 5 at the back. Negative Steve Bruce dinosaur tactics. It's not good enough. And I'm glad, right, that Steve Bruce has been taught a lesson by Marcelo Bielsa. I'm glad that Leeds have taught us a lesson, because that just sums up what we have to watch week in, week out. Even against West Brom, we were poor. Crystal Palace, we got lucky in the last 5 minutes that they switched off and we got 3 points out of that. But I tell you what it is, right, with Steve Bruce, he doesn't have a plan A, a plan B, C, D, E, F, G. And I tell you what it is, right, I've said it all along. Steve Bruce is not the right manager for this football club. And I don't care what anyone says. This is just my personal opinion. Oh, but we've beaten Crystal Palace. We've beaten West Bromwich Albion. Whoop-de-doo. They're not good sides. They're the sort of sides that we should be beaten. But then again, the way in which we played in both games, it could have been a different story. And tonight, it just goes to prove how well Leeds have progressed and how badly Newcastle have declined in the past couple of years. You could just see it on the pitch tonight. Leeds wanted it more. Look at the style of play. Look at the football. Look at the players wanting to score as many goals as possible. That game tonight, right, finished 5-2. That could have been double figures to Leeds. It really could have been. And I'm not being over the top. Leeds United were great, but we made them look good because we didn't, right, put any challenges in. And I want to call out a couple of players tonight that I thought were awful. Jamal Lewis has been awful for a long time. He was at fault for some of the goals. I mean, his tracking back is awful. He's ball watching as well. I mean, for me, he needs to be dropped against Fulham because he's costing us big time. We need to bring in somebody in the January, like a Jetro, to give him some competition, because he's going to continue to underperform when he's got no competition. And when he's getting played 5 at the back, it doesn't work. Also, Sean Longstaff. For me tonight, I love Sean Longstaff. I think he's a good guy. But tonight, he was awful. He was at fault for the goals in which Leeds scored. At least 1 or 2 of them anyway. And again, you know, put in a challenge. But it wasn't just them two. It was the whole squad. Make a challenge. And what was really baffling me was the case of we're conceding from our own corners. And when Leeds were getting forward, why were the defenders not putting in a tackle? I mean, I'm sorry to say, but was it the 4th or 5th goal when there was 3 or 4 players queuing into the penalty box for Leeds to put the ball in? It's absolutely embarrassing. We're meant to be a Premier League side. Well, I'm sorry to say, we did not look like a Premier League side out there this evening. We really didn't. And fair play to Leeds. Like, I'm not saying that you didn't deserve to win the game. You certainly did. I mean, you controlled the game. You bossed it. We just didn't seem to have an answer. And I had, real bad thoughts about this game. That even just Steve Bruce's pre-match press conference, Leeds is number one. Leeds United are not number one. They're a good side. But for me, it's some of the things that he comes out with that really baffles me to think why he should be at this football club. For me, Bruce should have been sacked months ago. And I tell you what it is, right? The games are coming thick and fast. I am worried for Fulham on Saturday. I really am. They're another side, really starting to turn the corner. But in terms of the game tonight, like possession, well, there's nothing there, is there? There's just nothing. There really isn't. And it's frustrating. Like, don't get us wrong. Not many sides are going to go to Leeds and get something. But it was a case of like, man, show up and do something. But then when you watch the game, you can just tell that Leeds are one step ahead of us. Marcelo Bielsa is one step or 2 or 3 steps ahead of Steve Bruce. He changes things. And I have to say, when Leeds conceded the 2 goals and we got it to 2-2, even at 1-1, the game could have went in our favour if we actually looked like going for that winning goal. We didn't. We just sat back looking to play this counter-attacking football, which doesn't work. I said it on Saturday and I said it in the match preview, right? We gave away the ball far too cheaply, and West Brom, right, if they, for me, weren't so bad, they could have beaten us on Saturday. They really could have. And Leeds have shown tonight what West Brom were missing on Saturday. You've got to have quality and you've got to have players that can put the ball in the back of the net. And it was time and time again where Leeds, it was far too easy for them. Far, far too easy. And I have to say, I'm fuming because from the very get-go, it was all negative and it looked like a 5 at the back. Correct us if I'm wrong, but it might as well have been. We did nothing in that game. Now, I will read out the team for you. So it was Darlow in goal, the back 5, if you like, Jacob Murphy, Federico Fernandez, Kieran Clark, Jamal Lewis, and then Hendrick, Longstaff, Isaac Hayden, Ryan Fraser, Callum Wilson, Joe Linton. Now, don't get me wrong, it is a strong lineup on paper, and I get he's got to make a few changes. But for me, there was nothing wrong with that side that beat West Brom. Go again. Do you know what I mean? Steve Bruce has shown how tactically inept he is. Honestly. So as the game goes ahead, we start off with Isaac Hayden. Now, first 5 minutes, I thought we were bright. We looked decent. We were getting in Leeds' face. Isaac Hayden put a cross in and it clipped the top of the crossbar. It caught out Meslier, the Leeds keeper, and you're thinking, was it more of a cross or was it more of an effort? Well, only Isaac Hayden will know that, and that's where we need to kick on. We know Leeds are not a good side in terms of the last couple of games, but we know deep down that they can counter-attack, but they are a good side in the way in which they can, punish sides. And from like the 5th minute, for about 20 minutes, Leeds dominated. And in that 20 minutes, from about the 5th minute to the 25th minute, how did Leeds not take the lead? How did they not take the lead? Rodrigo put a shot over the crossbar when a ball was put across to him. He was in acres of space. For me, he's got to hit that cleanly. If he does, it's either a Darlow save or flies into the back of the net. We got so lucky, and that was what was to come. Cooper for Leeds had a header which was pushed away by Carl Darlow, so the chances were coming. Harrison and Firmino were also wasteful as well with effort. And then finally Newcastle woke up on 25 minutes. Ryan Fraser, he tests Meslier with a good effort. And then from there, we then go on the counter-attack again. Wilson was part of the move as well. So Ryan Fraser on that left-hand side. Leeds don't deal with the first cross into the box. The second one gets put in, and it gets put into a dangerous area where you want it to be. Wilson flicks it, or sort of, if you like, to Jeff Hendrick, of all people. And he puts it into the back of the net. And he just, drives that in. 1-0, you're thinking, right, let's kick on. Let's go for that second goal and kill off any momentum of Leeds. They've had 20 minutes of dominance. We've got the lead. Let's go for the second. Well, we didn't, did we? This has been our problem under Steve Bruce, sitting back in inviting the pressure. And for me, as the whole game went on, it was embarrassing, to say the least. Ryan Fraser, decent cross. I give him that. It's good to see him back into the side. Jeff Hendrick, I wasn't expecting him to be in the side tonight, but he scored, so fair play to him. That's his second goal of the season. And then Leeds, they have chances, but it's a case of they were getting pushed away by Caldolo. Caldolo was keeping us in that game in the first half alone. And then Leeds United do get that chance. They do score through Patrick Bamford. On the 34th minute, Leeds 1, Newcastle United 1. Bamford heads in to score his 9th goal of the season. It comes from a cross into the box. Who's marking Rodrigo? He manages to climb the highest. He heads out onto the crossbar and it falls kindly to Bamford, who sticks it into the back of the net, and it's 1-1. And then Leeds United, have plenty more crosses, and they're just putting balls into the box, and even Rodrigo, missed a couple as well, just going into half time. So Newcastle United go into the half time break at 1-1. Leeds have something like 5 efforts on target. We only have 2, and we're somehow not 3 or 4-1 down, because that's what it should have been. But anyway, 1-1, and you're thinking, well, second half he's got to say something, Steve Bruce, in order to get at Leeds. We can't just sit back throughout the whole game. And then second half comes around, Isaac Hayden's booked. Straight away, he was a walking yellow card away, and he got it for putting in a challenge. And then on 56 minutes, Patrick Bamford, he's played through. The defending was all over the place, and Darlow has to pull off a very good save. For me, it is a good save by Darlow, because Patrick Bamford has tried to catch him out at his left-hand post, and it is well saved by Darlow. Goes for a corner. And from that, Leeds United go 2-1 up through Rodrigo, and it's poor defending again. You're thinking, who's picking him up? Who is picking up Harrison? Harrison crosses the ball, and by the way, he had a good game. Rodrigo heads into the back of the net, into the bottom right-hand corner, past Darlow. Could Darlow have done better? Maybe. However, who is picking up Rodrigo? Because for me, he's got the freedom of Elland Road to stick that into the back of the net. Leeds go 2-1 up, and there you go. That's where the floodgates are opening up for Leeds, because for me, we were lucky to be 1-1 at half-time. Let's get that in there. And then Hendrick has taken off the goal scorer for Emil Kraft. Now, 63 minutes in, Patrick Bamford is put through once more, and it's a save by Carl Darlow, and it goes for a corner. Leeds mess it up. Then on 63 minutes, Jacob Murphy on that right-hand side, he crosses it into Callum Wilson. He gets a header onto it. No one's picking him up in a Leeds shirt, and it comes off the crossbar, but Meslier for Leeds, the keeper, manages to get some sort of contact on the ball. He gets a glove on it and denies Callum Wilson a goal. And then from that, we'll have a couple of corners. The first one Leeds deal with, but the second one comes in, and Kieran Clark manages to get his head onto it and steers it into the bottom left-hand corner. It's 2-2, and you're thinking, right, okay, 2-2. Leeds have conceded after, 4 minutes of them taking the lead? We concede, that their first goal after, 9 minutes? But why can't we then go on and kick on? Look for the third goal. Leeds, yes, they've got a good side going forward. They score a lot of goals, but they're very vulnerable at the back, and it was proven in the game. And at 2-2 with Kieran Clark, it was a great header, by the way. Leeds would be wondering how on earth did they not put a challenge in. But anyway, 2-2, the game could go either way. But Leeds United stuck to the game plan, and they were going for it. But then Leeds United, as you expect under Marcelo Bielsa, staying positive. Steve Bruce makes a couple of changes. So on 73 minutes, Gale is on for Joe Linton. Joe Linton didn't have his best game, but he wasn't alone in that. And then on 74 minutes, Almiron is on for Ryan Fraser, who I thought was okay in the game. Good to see him back, but maybe just because he's not fully match fit, take him off. It sort of makes sense. But even still, you're bringing on Almiron and Gale, who have got a bit of quality about them. That's enough there to still be getting at the likes of Leeds United. I'm quite amazed that Almiron didn't even start this game, truth be told. And then Leeds United, they do get that goal and to make it 3-2, and it's a Dallas header. Again, the ball comes in. And it's just, why is nobody picking him up? You know, it's a routine goal. Who is picking up Dallas? I mean, Sean Longstaff, what are you doing? I mean, Emil Kraft, can you not put a tackle in or something? Do you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, Leeds United, you know, they go on to get the fourth and the fifth, and Alioski gets the fourth. And it's embarrassing. It comes from our own corner. Leeds United are on the break. Somebody needs to make a tackle. They don't. Leeds United get that fourth goal through Alioski, who I thought played quite well. And then they get the fifth goal, and it is a rocket. And it flies into the top right-hand corner, but it just caps off a poor night at Elland Road. But I take nothing away from Leeds United, who I thought played very well on the night. And Marcelo Bielsa was looking for some sort of reaction after losing the last couple of games. We won our last two. And if you're going to react like that against a Steve Bruce side that is just so negative. And Steve Bruce has just been taught a footballing lesson once more. He's not good enough for this football club. He really isn't. Steve Bruce, for me, right, should high on resign. He really should. I mean, if he keeps his job, for me, he's got to Brentford, because that's the big game for him. If he loses that, I think he's got to do the right thing and go. He really does. It's not over the top. I've seen enough negative football from Steve Bruce to last a lifetime. And you'll say, oh, well, are you all for Rafa now? Well, at least Rafa knew what he was doing, put it that way. Our side are talented. We've got some good players. However, they're getting played out of position. And this is the problem. Leeds completely dominated us. Honestly, Newcastle should give Steve Bruce his P45. NUFC, give Steve Bruce his P45. Honestly, he's finished. Because I tell you what it is, right? The longer that we keep Steve Bruce as manager, we are going to go down. It's as simple as that. We may not look like going down. We've got 17 points. I'm not overreacting, but a lot can change with these games coming thick and fast. And I tell you what, I wasn't confident about the game, and now you can see why. Leeds United have beaten Newcastle United by 5-2. It could have been a lot more. And I tell you what it is, big changes for Fulham. Big changes, because I tell you what it is, some of those players need dropping for a start. And if they're not dropped, and if they continue to be played, then the bad results are going to come back. And we're just being owned by Leeds United and Marcelo Bielsa. There's nothing more I can say about the game apart from we were second best throughout the whole game. Yes, okay, Hendrick scored and so did Kieran Clark. But from our forwards, we didn't see very much. The midfield was getting overrun, and just shocking decisions by Steve Bruce. And honestly, I just don't know how much more I can watch of this side. I really don't know how much more I can watch, because for me, you can now see why I went for the draw rather than the 2-1 win, because Leeds are not a good side. I'm not deluded to think that Leeds are a bad side, and they've proven it, and I feel like they will stay up. I said in the preview, Leeds, right, if they get it right and Marcel Bielsa gets his way, big things are going to happen for that football club. And you can see Leeds' rise and how Newcastle United as a club are declining. Look at the difference. Look at the difference on the pitch. You can see it. These are players who, you could say were playing in the Championship last season. However, they've made some very good signings, some quality signings in order to add to those Championship players to give them more Premier League experience, and that's where we're lacking big time. For me, I know Steve Bruce isn't the man to take us forward. I am still Steve Bruce out. Nothing's changed. But that is a long match review. But that's down to the fact that there's been 7 goals scored in that game tonight. And it was a real shit show from start to finish. And embarrassing, whatever way you want to call it. And whatever comments Steve Bruce gets his way, I think they're all justified. Because for me, that was just shocking out there the day. There was no plan to get anything. It was just to get a point. And if you do that, then unfortunately, you're not going to get what you want. And honestly, it didn't take a genius to know what was going on. Even when the 2 goals went in, the 2 goals that were conceded, that's something had to change. So, full time from Elland Road. Long match review. I'm sorry about it, but, I have to talk. I have to be honest. Leeds United 5, Newcastle United 2. Subscribe to TOON TV. There will be a match preview for Fulham tomorrow at 8 o'clock, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Hit the like button, get your comments down below. Let us know who your man of the match was for Newcastle, if there was one. And let us know what you thought about that game. I can't expect you to see anything positive, but we'll wait and see. Follow me on Instagram, TOON TV, Instagram and Twitter. And I'm rambling now. I'll see you all later. Take care.